Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to absolutely crack the code on one of the trickiest topics you'll face in your psychology exams, eyewitness testimony. We're going to break down exactly how you can lock in every single one of those marks.
And here it is, the big one, the 16 marker. This kind of question can feel like the final boss of your exam paper. But seriously, don't worry. By the end of this, you are going to have a rock-solid strategy to take it down and walk away with all those points.
Scoring top marks isn't about magic or luck. It's all about preparation. I want you to think of it like this. You're building a perfect answer, and to build anything great, you need the right tools. So today, we're going to pack your exam toolkit with everything you need.
Okay, these are your 3 essential tools, your secret weapons. AO1 is your foundation. It's what you know. AO2 is all about how you use that knowledge in a specific situation. And AO3, and this is the key to the top grades, is your critical eye, your ability to really evaluate the evidence.
So here's our game plan. We're going to master each of these tools one by one, and then we're going to put them all together to construct that perfect top mark answer. You ready? Let's get into it. All right, first up, your knowledge base. This is Assessment Objective 1, or AO1 for short. This is all about showing the examiner what you know. It's the facts, the theories, the key studies, basically the solid backbone of your entire answer. Now, the most important thing to remember for AO1 is that you have to be precise. For a question like ours, that means you've got to accurately outline the key research into misleading information. And the best place to start is with the absolute classic example, leading questions. So the one study you absolutely have to know inside and out here is Loftus and Palmer. What they did was they showed participants these short clips of car accidents. Then they asked them a simple question about how fast the cars were going. But here's the really clever part, the tweak that changed everything. They just changed one single word in that question.
And just look at these results. They're pretty staggering, right? I mean, look at the difference. When the verb they used was smashed, the average speed people guessed was over 40 miles per hour. But when it was just contacted, it dropped all the way down to under 32. This just goes to show how a simple leading question can literally change a witness's memory. This table right here, this is pure AO1 gold.
But listen, to really push for those top grades, you need to show you know more than just one study. It's not just about leading questions. You should also talk about post-event discussion. That's where witnesses' memories get all mixed up just by talking to each other. And definitely don't forget the complicated role of anxiety. You've got the weapons effect, where people stare at the weapon instead of the person's face. But then you've got contradictory evidence that says sometimes super high stress can actually improve memory. It's all great stuff to include. Okay, tool number 2 in our toolkit, AO2. This is all about your application skills. See, it's not enough to just list off facts from a textbook. You have to explain how that knowledge actually applies to a specific scenario or the question you've been given. Let's see how that works. This right here is the main idea for AO2. You're linking the concept, so the psychological theory, like leading questions, to the context, which is the specific story in the exam question. You're basically building a bridge between the theory and the real-world situation they give you. Let's look at a quick example. So a lawyer asks, "Did you see the getaway car?" when the witness never said anything about a car. A decent answer might just say, "This is a leading question." Okay, fine. But a great answer? It explicitly links it. It says, "This is a leading question." Then it explains how, by referencing Loftus and showing that suggesting a car was there could actually plant a false memory. It's that clear, explicit link that's going to get you all the AO2 marks.
And now, for the real game changer, AO3. This is your critical eye. This is where you analyze and evaluate the evidence. You weigh up the strengths and the weaknesses of the studies you've just talked about. Honestly, this is what separates a good answer from a truly exceptional one.
So what AO3 is really about is putting on your detective hat. You don't just take a study at face value, you question it. What are its flaws? What did it do really well? And what does it actually mean for the real world? This is where you get to prove you can think like a real psychologist. And here's a fantastic trick for structuring your evaluation paragraphs. Just use Peel. It's a super simple recipe for a perfect paragraph every single time. First, you make your point. Then you back it up with evidence. Next, you explain why it matters. And finally, you link it all back to the main question. Let's see it in action. Okay, so here's a pretty standard critical point you might have in your notes about the Loftus and Palmer study. And it's a good start, for sure. But on its own, it's just a statement. It's not going to score you a ton of marks. We need to develop it, to build it into something more powerful. So, let's take that simple point and run it through our Peel structure. We start with our point, P. The study was artificial. We back it up with evidence, E. Participants just watched film clips, not a real crash. We then explain, X. Why this is a big deal. Real accidents are stressful and that stress affects memory. The clips had none of that. And finally, we link L, it all back to the bigger picture. Therefore, the study lacks ecological validity. See how that structure turns a simple idea into a detailed, high-scoring AO3 paragraph? It's that easy.
Okay, we have officially filled our toolkit. We've got AO1 for our knowledge, AO2 for our application, and AO3 for that critical evaluation. Now, let's put it all together and see how we can build that perfect 16-mark answer from the ground up.
Just take a look at these two examples. The answer on the left is okay, it's basic AO1, it makes a simple point. But the answer on the right, that's where the top grades are. It's using all three AOs together. It starts with the same AO1 knowledge, but then brings in that AO3 critique, using specific terminology like ecological validity, and explaining why the artificial task is a problem. It's developing the point, not just stating it. This is how you level up your answers.
All right, let's do a quick fire recap, just to make sure it's all locked in. First up, AO1 is the what. It's your core knowledge, the theories, the studies, the cold, hard facts.
Next, AO2 is the HO. It's how you apply all that knowledge, linking the concept to the context, and showing the examiner you really get it. And finally, AO3 is the why and the so what. Why is this research strong or weak? And so what? What does it all mean for our understanding of eyewitness testimony? This is your critical thinking shining through.
And that's it. You now have the complete toolkit. You know the what, the how, and the why. You've got the structure, you've got the strategy to take on any question on this topic. So the only real question left is, are you ready to go get those full marks? Because you've totally got this.